Whenever we build car setups in SimRacing, we get like a million bits of information on how it's going to affect your ride in different situations, in fast or slow corners. And if I throw all the information at you, then you get completely lost because everything is influenced by everything. Yeah? So in this video, I'm going to show you where you need to prioritize your focus on your car setup, and also this is going to be slow and fast corners. Now, I've built multiple setups for different cars and different skill levels, and there's also people buying this from me, and I don't get really like negative feedback. So and they always say, if you sell a product and you don't hear anything, they're happy, yeah? Or like that's, I'm assuming. This is going to be the next video behind the scenes, what you need to change, when you need to change, and I'm gonna use this model that I'm actually learning in publicly. So there will be mistakes and there will be physics that will not be explained in the exactly way that it is. And I also want to apologize for the last video because there are some things wrong that I explained wrong, that I misunderstood, and I will correct that in this video. But I will also give you a priority list on where you need to focus on the next time you're gonna build your setup and how it is going to affect the behavior. And I'm gonna keep it as simple as possible. Let's go. So in the previous video, I explained that if you put more weight on a certain tire, you get more grip on that tire. And in a way that is true, but there's a limit to it. It is called like this new thing I've been exposed to. I'd never heard of this before. Again, learning it publicly. Tire overload sensitivity. Now, important to note is that tire load sensitivity means if we push an unlimited amount of weight on a tire, it will completely stop working. So there is a window where this tire operates in the most desirable way. And this is going to be super important where we need to prioritize our car setup on, because we want to work these we want to work these four monsters under our car to its most efficiency. And that is also going to be important in our priority list, because these ones need to operate in the best possible way. More weight does not mean more efficiency on how the tire is working. So this is going to be like in the previous video, somebody pointed this out to me, and I was like really searching for like a million videos about the subject. And I'm going to share this knowledge with you, what I've learned. And what it basically means is that if we put a bunch of weight on a certain tire, then we lose more efficiency of this tire, and the tire gets more or less unhappy in a way. So with this model that I was explaining in the previous video, all the changes still work, but for the wrong reasons. So even people said like, I sold people 1.1 is 3, but the answer 3 is still correct, but we need to talk about this 1 plus 1. I was explaining in a previous video that if we have low bump stop ranges and we're braking, we not allowing this weight to go forward that much. And in a way that is true, but not the weight of the car itself, but the aero balance. We're not allowing the aero balance to go so much forward. Adding to that is when we have short ranges, we lose tire efficiency. Yeah, so we are actually overloading the tires more with short ranges. So, and we have the aero box not going forward that much, and we have the bump stop ranges preventing tire efficiency. Yeah. So in the previous video, these changes really help you to manipulate your car behavior, but for the wrong reasons I was explaining. I'm sorry for this. Yeah, I'm gonna fix that. I'm gonna go through the slides a little bit differently. So this red line and this red spring is representing overload. We have an overloaded tire. Yeah, so this front tire isn't happy, and therefore we don't have the grip, and therefore we have maybe like a very stable and predictable entry. And this will also allow for more brake bias to the back, because this tire is maybe not overloaded. Now, when a tire is overloaded, when a tire is not overloaded, I have no clue. And also scaling this, like in the next examples, don't worry so much about scale. It's more like to visualize and to understand, oh, this is happening, maybe this is happening. High bump stop ranges will allow to go the car more forward, moving the aero balance more forward, creating more grip efficiency on the front tires. So these two work together, and we can really change up the car behavior in this way, and that's why it's working so well. Again, not static weight of the car, because the weight will be there anyway, but we're just using the tires better, and we get more brake, like we get more aero dynamic force on the front of the car. Now, obviously, when we're braking and we're losing speed, we're also going to lose that aero package or that aero force underneath the car over here. So I spoke about ride heights and the weight of the car going more forward. That is actually not happening. But why is the car behaving also better in the slow corners? I will tell you why. If we go to this slide, I was saying the weight is going to be more on front, but actually moving the car up will still have the same axle weights. So this was wrong. I misunderstood this, but what is actually happening is we're changing a little bit of that suspension geometry, and having a little bit of that extra ride height will make the front anti-roll bar work better, and therefore creating more grip on the front. Yeah, this anti-roll bar, I will get into that later, explaining why are we need to prioritize this, yes or no. So yeah, moving on. Acceleration and top speed. Again, I'm going to correct this. I was saying that the weight is not allowed to move backward with short ranges, but actually the aero box is not allowed to move backward with short ranges. So we controlling with the ride heights and the bump stop ranges, we're controlling the position of the aerodynamic box that I am explaining, pushing the car down. So if we have massive ranges on the back, we allow this aero box to move further backwards. And what it's also adding, because we have more ranges, because the tire will move more freely, it will also have more efficiency. Yeah, so again, this works double. This is gonna work in, like on the slow corners, you're gonna have this wheel rates helping you with the grip, and then with the ranges, also making you have more grip on the back. Yeah, with a front-engined car, we wanted to prevent this. I'm also gonna go into mid-engine cars and how a setup model can work, have like a balance example how this can work. More about the aero balance. The aero balance on 250 kilometers, I'm just like making a guess here, would be somewhere here with certain ride heights and certain bump stop ranges. Yeah, so the faster we go, the more this aero balance is gonna play its part on the overall balance. And if we go slower, the balance might be more here, or it's not even existing. It's more about how the wheel rates are going to affect our car behavior. Now, don't worry, it gets complicated, but I will come up with like presets and examples, how you need to change up your wheel rates and the ranges together. Now we'll get into the juicy part of this video, and that is the tire efficiency and how it's going to work. Let's say we have a neutral way of ride heights, and we are going to change around bump stop ranges to get a certain car behavior. Imagine we have the softest springs everywhere, and we're going to have low front bump stop ranges, and we're gonna have a lot of ranges on the back. Yeah, what this does, having a lot of ranges and low wheel rates on the back, we're gonna introduce a lot of tire efficiency on the back of the car. Yeah, and the front of the car will not have the tire efficiency. To prioritize your car setup in a way for slow corners is like having low wheel rates. Yeah, this is especially important when we go on throttle and we want to maximize grip. Low wheel rates will have the most grip on a tire because we're not overloading them as much as would we want to increase the wheel rates on the back. Now, when we are increasing the speed of the car, like 125, 150, 175, we get higher, higher, higher. This aerodynamic box is going to move backwards in this model. So these edges represent the wheel rates, and this is going to be the aero balance box. Yeah, and we can manipulate with the rear ranges and ride height where this aero box needs to be. This force will increase and increase and will get more dominant on higher speeds. Tire overload. Where does this come into play? Well, because we don't have ranges on the front, and let's say we're taking a corner to the right for this instance, this front tire will be loaded more because we don't have the ranges. Because we don't have ranges, the weight will be going to this left front, but this tire will be kind of like inefficient because we have too much weight on that tire. Yeah. If we go to the previous slide, on the back here, because we have more ranges and we have the low wheel rates, this tire is going to be super efficient with its grip. Now, in this image, I am not running the lowest wheel rates anymore everywhere. Over here, I'm actually running a lot stiffer rear wheel rates. What that is going to do, it's going to reduce the grip efficiency of the rear tires as well. So in a way, the previous slide will give us more grip efficiency in the overall car setup than this one. But if we want to sacrifice grip efficiency for its behavior, because some cars will have such a weird characteristics trying to maintain the most grip efficiency, which makes some cars pretty much undrivable. Let's say a Porsche. Yeah, if we run low wheel rates everywhere, maybe we will have the most efficiency on every tire, but maybe we get into a car behavior that is like completely uncontrollable. And I really feel like if you're super advanced, you want to run these low wheel rates and you want to like get in a certain aerodynamic way where your inputs are going to be very important, where we're going to transfer all this grip efficiency everywhere. And if you can master this, you will be the fastest one in the field. Yeah, but like we are normal people. Yeah, we cannot do this. So we need to change setup to get it in our control. And this doesn't mean really if we have we're losing a little bit of efficiency, like this is red, this is yellow. It's all subjective, you know. It's not like, whoa, we lose 100% efficiency. Oh, we're losing like 50% efficiency. No, it's just like to understand what's happening. Car setup priority in slow corners. The first priority for getting the most grip out of your tires will be low wheel rates. Low wheel rates will make the car will make the tires more efficient. And I mean, if you're like having a track with slow corners, I would probably want to get into low wheel rates because it's gonna make the tire have the most grip. Then the second one, you want to maximize bump stop ranges to your ability and bottoming out. So we will bottom out if we overdo this, and we get also like the most grip if we have low wheel rates and we have a lot of ranges. So this tire will move freely, very nicely. And this was going to be your priority in the super slow corners. This will actually produce the most grip overall. I'm not talking about ride heights here, because ride heights may be step one in your car setup build, but these are the priorities. Yeah. So if you like watch my setups made easy videos, I'm explaining first you need to change ride height, then you need to change like the bump stop ranges. But the priority will be the wheel rates and the bump stop ranges, and low wheel rates lets you get away with low traction control settings. And low wheel rates, also the brake bias, we could change in real time. A lot of people would say, yeah, we need to have the lowest brake bias. I wouldn't be so concerned with lowest brake bias if we cannot get the desired result with low wheel rates. So let's say I want to use the lowest brake bias possible, but if that means we need to run maximum wheel rates on the front, I don't really feel that brake bias is important in this matter. Yeah. So low wheel rates, first priority, but you get the idea. Yeah. What about fast corners? And you know, you're gonna have to test this out, but when we have fast corners, and I'm gonna explain like Silverstone, yeah? If you got the Hammett's, Beckett's, fast S's, and the fast corners, very low wheel rates, massive ranges, is gonna be an absolute slaughterhouse for your insurance policy or insurance company, because you're gonna lose your car everywhere. But why is this? This is because the aerodynamics, when we have super low ranges, will be affected by it. So to set up your car for fast corners, the rear ride height is going to be super important, because it will determine where your aerodynamic force will be in fast corners. Now, bump stop range is also going to be super important. And I'm talking about the priority here, because the bump stop ranges will determine how much of this aero box is allowed to go forward and backwards. I will show this in the next slides as well. And then the third priority is maybe increase the wheel rates to get more aerodynamic stability. Yeah. And it's also the wheel rates are also going to determine how fast this aerodynamic box is going to change forward and backwards whenever we go on throttle, braking, or hitting different speeds. So, ride heights and the aero box, in a way. Base position aero box determined by ride heights. So, if we have massive ride heights on the back and like absolutely nothing on the front, this box will be way forward. Now, if we remove bump stop ranges on the front, like where I'm pointing this arrow here, if we remove the bump stop ranges on the front, then this box will not go forward when we're increasing the speed of the car. Yeah. So not only will it stay in that position, but when we have massive range in the back, this box will move backwards as we're increasing the speed. Wheel rates will determine on which speeds this box goes backwards. So if we have, let's say, very stiff rates, maybe it will stay in the front for a very long time, and then maybe like when we go to 50 or to 60, then maybe it will move backwards with this arrow and the ranges. Now, to get the most out of your setup, you probably want to run low wheel rates with decently short ranges, so we don't get a lot of variety in this box. So I'm going to explain even more on aero box and how this is going to display you how the aero box is going to take over your mechanical grip section when you go into higher speeds. So let's imagine this low speed scenario up until 100 kilometers, I don't know, 60 miles an hour, whatever. And imagine if these lines would represent our wheel rate, bump stop rate, and bump stop ranges all together. And we are traveling around with the car and we have all these green dots that's representing our tire efficiency and our grip. Yeah, when we don't have that aero box that big, so we're going low speed. Now in this instance, mid speed, let's say we're talking 100 up till 175, this box is going to be increased and it's going to have more dominance. Now I explained this with wheel rates, bump stop rates, having these equal ranges and like a neutral ride height, but you can see how this aero box is taking up this mechanical grip section dots, and now it gets more dominant. Now, when we're hitting really high speeds, you can see how this aero box is taking up all this bump stop range and rates. So this actually means the car gets sucked onto the tarmac and we're gonna lose all of this, like the complete mechanical grip section of the setup, and now this aero is becoming super important for the overall car balance. So the wheel rates and ranges don't do a whole lot anymore. Now, this model is still under development, and I would say that the bump stop rates or rubbers would be on these edges, And then the rates is going to be very important, how the car will behave under massive load with massive downforce. If you made it this far into the video, now we can actually get into some applications for this and how to build setups. And I'm going to explain where the tire is going to overload, yes or no, and how to make the tires most efficient. I built a preset for every car, for every track in the game. And that's Arnout's preset. You can get it on a Patreon store, and every time you load up the setup screen when you're on PC, it will be there. It's a very sweet preset, and you only need to change minor adjustments to get that working on every track, on every car. It's really good. I want to get into meta grip potential. Yeah, I'm gonna load that up. If I could control this, then in my opinion, this is going to be the absolute super fastest, because I will explain. We have the biggest ranges, we have the lowest wheel rates and lowest bump stop rates, we have the lowest anti-roll bar settings, we have the lowest brake bias, and this will be like, this is what like meta setups are called, yeah? To be fair, this could never ever happen because the car will bottom out. It's going to be way too low under load. Also anti-roll bar, the car is going to roll a lot, which is going to destroy our aerodynamic performance of the car. But anyways, this is what the potential would be if this could work. Now, I put like max wing on here. Probably it will be somewhat oversteery, whatever. So the only thing now I need to change are the ride heights. Yeah, so I have no clue now. So let's take this out for a spin. That's the problem with having like meta stuff. I could like save this, but a lot of people who are not really a beginner, or like even if you're a beginner or you're a little bit advancing, this is completely useless. So those settings you can like chase, but it's very hard to control, and especially when you get into longer races, you will not keep this up. At least I'm not keeping this up. So what to do instead? Arnout's preset. This first menu, I'm not so concerned with toe, caster, or these values. These values I use in every car anyways. As for the electronics, super beginner friendly, TC2. Some cars you need it, some cars you don't. I always choose like 30 liters to test my car out, so I have the same values everywhere there. And over here, I explained this in a previous video, I'll also put a link there, but this was the values that I'm basically using. Also the dampers, they're not super meta. You can min-max the rebound, fast rebound, and lower the bump. But this can work as well. You don't have to ever change those. And the only thing you need to do with Arnout's preset is you could probably drop the ride height. And a little bit of a spoiler, you can remove the ride height for this McLaren as well, because this car will not bottom out so much. But and the aero balance is pretty decent with like a six wing, something like this. This car is pretty balanced like this is now. So you need to figure out if you're having a track and you want top speed or you want to reduce some wing. These will be working together, obviously, because if we have a bunch of rear ride height, then the aero box, like we explained before, will move forward, and then we need to rear wing to back that up. Yeah, so if we don't want to use wing, we're gonna not so much have this massive ride height. Now if we have less wing, we will have a little bit less downforce, and we will have a little bit more top speed. Then why do I come up with these settings? Low wheel rates are beneficial, but one rate higher, like, I don't know, this is like an increase of, what is it, like 10, 50%. On a lot of cars, I find that a little bit extra wheel rate makes it so much more forgiving, and you're gonna be way more consistent. And also the bump stop ranges are like 25% of the slider, and that will create sort of an aero balance combined with this, that we have an increasing aero balance, but the balance will stay the same. And that's really beneficial for this car. Yeah, if you feel like, now we're gonna get in some changes. If you feel like you need to increase the bump stop ranges because you're not like, this is gonna create more entry for your corners. What if you're still like in this particular situation? Yeah, we were using, oh, this is wrong. We're still using this kind of way of setup. Now, if we increase the ranges, now we're trying to get rid of that understeer on entry. Take note, this will also move the aero box on higher speeds forward because the car will pitch more. But what if you cannot get rotation in the car and you don't want to mess around with the wheel rates and you're kind of happy with the aero balance on high speeds? What do you need to do then? Well, then you could lower the anti-roll bar. And what the anti-roll bar is going to do, I'm going to explain a super stiff one. A stiff one will be beneficial for your aero balance. So you keep the front of the car with this anti-roll bar, you keep that aligned on the tarmac. If you have this super low and we go into the corner, the front of the car will roll a lot, which is probably gonna hurt your aerodynamic performance. What the absolute positive is about this moment, like if we go to the max again, we go steer right into the corner, we're gonna have massive tire overload on one of these wheels, on the outside wheels of the corner. This makes it super understeery. Yeah. So then we could increase the bump stop ranges, but there's a limit because now we're bottoming out. Or maybe we don't want to screw around too much with the aero balance because we have a nice aero balance with these bump stop ranges, for instance. So again, if you cannot find any rotation anymore with these ranges, then you could even decrease these wheel rates even more. And you could even lower the brake bias also. And you could drop the anti-roll bar. Yeah, but let's say you're driving an Aston Martin, let's say, and you did this. I don't know if that's even possible that much, like 90, because you want to have, in an Aston, you want to have the aero box way more in the front because it's understeering nature. Then this anti-roll bar is going to be super, like this adjustment you will feel very heavily with a high rear ride height. And Niels Heusgeveld explained this to me, that this is happening with the anti-roll bar and the rear ride height. I kind of sort of like understood, because I always knew that if we have massive ride heights, this anti-roll bar, it's just like devastating for the entry. So just know that the front anti-roll bar will make sure the pressure on the front tires, both of them on entry, in corners, will spread the weight more on the front tires, and that's why you get so much grip from it. Yeah, a lot of times you get too much, and there's also the combination of the aerodynamic performance dropping when we have a lot of body roll, because a lot of downforce cars, they really rely on a stiff anti-roll bar and a stiff set of springs. So yeah, only in Assetto Corsa Competizione it's a little bit of a defect, I believe. We can still run super low wheel rates and we don't have this aero problem. Now, I have a loss situation to sketch out for you. A lot of times, for a lot of cars, I will just run 25% of these sliders, and then I will just jack up the rear ride height to get myself that balance. Let's say this could be like a setting for like a Lamborghini, or this could be a setting for like a Ferrari, you know, whatever. we have lowest wheel rates, and as soon as we're getting into some serious speeds, it will drop on the bump stop rates, and that is basically it. We have a nice ride and we have pretty good traction, and most of the time we're squeezing most of, like, a lot of lap time out of this. Then a smart guy would say, well, Arnout, why don't you do just like super high wheel rates, for instance, and do have like a lot of ranges. Let's say we're gonna run this. What's the difference? Now we also get a little bit of that play, and we're also not bottoming out, and we're actually using the wheel rates in fast corners. Well, if we're going to drive ovals, then I would maybe go for something like this, but just know that we are going to overload the tires a lot with the high wheel rates, also in the slow corners. So low wheel rates will make our tires happier also in the slow corners, and then to keep the aerodynamic performance in check, we have basically 25% of the bump stop range slider, and that will control our aero box very nicely. Now, again, if you want to go super meta, then the rates can drop. I see in a lot of people, they drop the rates to the minimum. That could work. And so that's basically how I would do it. Now, if I want to test this, I want to drop this one. 3 and 3 and 3. By the way, if you're liking McLarens, I built like 14 presets of this McLaren, and they all go up to different levels. So they have like different ranges, and especially if you're a beginner, you could really benefit from this pack. You can pick like a level setup, high downforce, low downforce for every track, and you can see the setup difference and changes what's happening when you get like in a more pointier, more fast advanced setup, and that can really be helpful to like start out and progress through the levels as you gain more experience. If a car behaves like this in an outlap, I know I have something. So that's why the preset is so absolutely gorgeous in Assetto Corsa Competizione, because it's gonna save you a million years on setup building. Guys, I want to thank you for watching, and I also want to thank all the Patreon supporters and channel members for supporting me, and also the people who bought my setups. I will drop all the links down below from the stuff that I learned from different other channels. I'm also gonna drop there a link for my newsletter, because I am not finished with this setup model. I really want to make a design tree on how setups could work and how we can build them and make them a lot easier than the most stuff that is out there currently. So yeah, thanks for watching, mate.